Imagine this, my fellow South Africans. You wake up one morning and find out that the very people meant to protect this country, our crime intelligence officers, have their private security clearance files being pulled left, right and centre. Not because of solid evidence of wrongdoing, but because someone higher up just signed a paper without properly checking the names or the reasons. One signature, one person, and suddenly the whole system is turned upside down. Now, relate that to what is happening right now at the Madlanga Commission. Before we go further, do me a favour. Like this video, subscribe, share it with every South African who still cares about the truth, and drop a comment telling me what you think. Let's make sure this message reaches the people who need to hear it.
For that purpose, I would like you to have before you file 3. And at file 3, I would like us to go to page 936. This is a Section 28 summons issued and signed by you on the 6th of February 2025. The questions I'll be posing on this document could potentially be part answered by the A1 statements you received, that you've provided in terms of the letter. All A1 statements issued by Mr. Adams.
Okay.
Could potentially be, but like I say, still have to consider the content. You, I assume, would have cast your eye on the A1 statements and are able to confirm whether or not the A1 statements provided lend us to where this Section 28 summons is. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
My view is that summons will only make sense if buttressed by a compliant Section 27, supplementary statements, and any other information available to the investigators as at the 6th of February to issue that summons. Would that be a logical?
It follows.
Thank you. Now, this document, the summons, if you go over leaf at 937, just above a signature there, above your name, which I think it's your signature, you do confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
The details of the matter are said to be as follows. I quote, "This investigation pertains to manipulation of security vetting processes which resulted in the unlawful issuing of security clearances in favor of personnel within the Division Crime Intelligence of the South African Service." End quote.
I see that.
At the time you signed these summons, what evidence did you have, as by you, of course, I mean collectively the institution IDAC, what evidence did IDAC have to even conclude that there had been manipulation of security vetting processes and unlawful issuing of security clearances in favor of anyone within crime intelligence?
According to me, it would have had to have been the Section 27 referral, and it would have had to have been the supplementary affidavits that had been taken in January of 2025.
And as we established last week, we know that our Section 27 only expresses a suspicion of the commission of this crime without any underlying facts to support such a suspicion. So the answer then must lie in the subsequent supplementaries that were received.
Correct.
My question then is, what must the commission do if it lands at a position where the supplementary statements do not support a claim such as reflected here? That on reading both the Section 27 and the relevant supplementary statement, one cannot reasonably conclude that a crime such as reflected here has even been committed or contemplated.
So if it's not made out in the supplementary, because that is what the supplementary sought to do, then these become problematic.
Yes.
Because one would have to go back to those A1s,
yes,
and see what was said for them to have compiled to ask for this information.
And then if we go over leaf at 938, and your summons does say the detail is contained in your annexure B, and that is at 938. There is that list of 7. And this summons effectively asks for complete applications for security clearances and vetting files for the officers listed therein, starting with General Khumalo, in respect of all the ranks he's held, starting with the brigadier, major general, and lieutenant general. And the pattern repeats itself. Now, as we had this discussion last week, one can understand perhaps how General Khumalo is identified. I think he's mentioned by name in the Section 27 referral. So is General Lushaba and General Madondo. At this juncture in February, again, we have that problem of names that do not appear from documentation that IDAC has at the moment it takes this drastic step, appearing in such documents as these summonses. I know you've signed, and I take it you signed because you are the head of the institution, but the document, the summons would have been drafted for you.
Correct.
Who would have drafted these summons?
These would have been drafted by an investigator. It could have been Mr. Perumal or Mr. Padiachi.
Okay.
And or perhaps Mr. Mansa.
Mr.?
Mansa. M-A-N-T-S-H-A.
Oh, Mansa.
As being those, as being some of the investigators at the time.
Now,
sorry,
yes.
at the bottom, sorry, Chair, at the bottom of 936, it does say at the bottom, there was also one of the investigators assigned was Investigator Mlambo. So the inquiries to Senior Investigator Mlambo at the bottom of 936.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes.
Where it indicates to whom inquiries must be addressed.
Yes.
Okay. So he also could potentially be one. Now, we have since come to learn that Brigadier Ngube at item 1.4 was involved in the panel that recommended the appointment. Chair, apologies.
Oh, yeah. May I just refer to the part just above your signature at 937. That's the part headed details of the matter or other information. Was that meant to capture what was to be investigated? Or why is that included there?
Chair, they include it in there so as not to have a generalized subpoena. Because if you issue it only with the introduction and the background, and then you're on 938, 8 just have a list of requests. It must relate to something. So when it's put in there, that is what the investigators reflect.
So am I correct to say it was meant to set out what's intended to be investigated?
That is correct.
Oh, okay. For the future, perhaps, for those who will be at IDAC, because the way it's captured, it says this investigation pertains to manipulation of security vetting processes, which resulted in the unlawful issuing of security clearances. It appears to be stating a fact instead of saying...
An allegation of sorts.
Yes. It's stating a fact as it is currently stated or set out there.
The point is noted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Staying then with this list, as I said, we've come to learn that Brigadier Ncube was part of the panel that interviewed and recommended Brigadier Mukwele for appointment. I think I've been making a mistake, which I would like to take opportunity to correct. 1.5, the Van Vuren referred to here, is a crime intelligence officer already within crime intelligence. It's not the Van Vuren that applied for the job with Mrs. Mukwele. So at some point I thought I'd concluded that it was one of the applicants, but judging by information on some other documents here, I think I'm wrong in that regard, and I'd like to take this opportunity to correct my error. You then have Brigadier Mukwele. The one name I haven't come across in this investigation is Brigadier D. Bobby. Do you know who that is and how she gets to be included in this list?
It could be that it is not a person who is being investigated, but a person to provide the documents having the... No, I haven't come across Bobby because they read exactly the same as the other. Sorry, yes, it reads the same.
Now, as I had suggested to you, it's likely, as you say, either Mr. Perumal, Mr. Padiechu, Mr. Mancha, or Mr. Mlambo prepared this. What do you, as the ID, normally have before you to ensure that the summons that you authorize is supported by some level of evidence that entitle you, as IDAC, to investigate, in this case, these crime intelligence officers to this extent? Do you just take their word for it? Do they prepare a document for you? Do you have an opportunity to glance the inquiry file to account for each name that is listed here?
What ordinarily happens, Chair, is that the person who issues or drafts the summons would come and brief the ID on, we need to issue a summons to this person. Part of the investigation relates to the manipulation of the security vetting, and in our investigation we have identified what is required and from whom.
So, if I understand you correctly, when we do get that investigation file, we will have a clear understanding of the basis on which these officers were selected to be included in the summons, each one of them in turn.
It should.
Okay, because you say it should, you force me to run ahead, and if it doesn't, if when we do receive the file, we find that there is no basis for what is contained in Annex B against these officers, what does that mean for IDAC and the Commission and the law?
Well, first of all, IDAC would have to, the person who compiled the summons would have to indicate where they've got this from if it's not in the file. and what was the base document upon which these names were extracted and or identified?
It can't.
And the basis.
Continue.
Sorry, the basis on which.
IDAC and the commission and the law.
Well, first of all, IDAC would have to, the person who compiled the summons would have to indicate where they've got this from, if it's not in the file, and what was the base document upon which these names were extracted and or identified.
It can't.
And the basis.
Continue.
Sorry, the basis on which the names were identified and the purpose for which they were identified.
It can't be that person only. It would have to be you as well. Ultimately, you are the person that authorized, only your signature appears here, not this other person that you are referring to. So we, as we sit here, look to you to furnish the information that you say someone else would have to furnish.
I agree. Once the information is furnished, that we have to go through that information.
No, I think the question also is as at the time you signed, what was your understanding with regard to what Advocate Sello is asking you about? Because as at the time you signed, your mind should have focused on the issue Advocate Sello is raising, or not?
The issue I focused on, Chair, was the briefing by the investigator,
yes.
indicating what was required and why and from whom. It was a briefing, and then I signed the subpoena.
Yes, but you accept that as you sign, you accept that you are satisfied with everything that's on here, including the annexures, that everything is what it should be, which is why you sign.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
So you did satisfy yourself that these names are correctly included in the summons?
I had no doubt sorry, my English escapes me. I had no doubt, I had no reason to doubt the briefing that was given to me by the investigator. So I didn't ask for a sorry, Counsel. I didn't ask for a document. I was satisfied with the briefing that I was given. That as an investigation team, they identified that this is the investigation that is outstanding. This is what they require for the investigation, and this is what it is that must be subpoenaed.
It sounds slightly different to what you have just said to the chair. I'd understood you to mean you satisfied yourself that there is not a name in Annexure B that ought not to be there because either there is no evidence supporting it. So I thought you satisfied yourself. But it sounds like I misunderstood you. What you mean is that you satisfied yourself that the investigator who put these names before you had done their work. You took their word for it, and that's how you satisfied yourself.
That is correct.
So you open yourself up because it's your signature that gives authority.
Correct.
You open yourself up for potential manipulation by some of your investigators because you trust them implicitly.
I take note.
Now, what do you suggest the Commission must recommend?
Ms. Silla,
apologies.
Before you get to the suggestion question, can I just understand this? You satisfied yourself, and I want to look at specifically this list. So let's look at 1.1, and I just want to understand what it means that you satisfied yourself. The request is based on that there was manipulation, if you go back the previous page, which resulted in unlawful issuing of security clearances. That is what you're investigating. Are you saying you were satisfied from the briefing you got that there was a basis to investigate whether General Khumalo, or an allegation that General Khumalo's security clearance given when he was a brigadier was a result of manipulation of your vetting process, of their vetting processes. When he became Major General, the security clearance that he got was a result of the manipulation of vetting processes. And then when he ultimately becomes, well, I think he's a brigadier, Major General, and then Lieutenant General. Are you saying that with the briefing, you were satisfied that there is a basis to investigate those clearances that he got starting with brigadier? Is that what you satisfied yourself about, that there was a basis for that?
There was a basis.
For that.
To request those documents to determine whether or not, in fact, there was a manipulation of the security vetting processes.
So you were satisfied that there is from your briefing, you were satisfied that there is sufficient information that casts doubt